Healing is not what most people think it is. Because when most of us imagine healing, we normally picture it as being something dramatic, something very visible that looks like a glow up, where you suddenly wake up every day happy, excited, and in a way you have your life figured it out of a sudden. But real and true healing is much quieter than that. Real healing is when you did such a inner work that now before you actually start reacting, you actually pause. Is when you truly walk out of a conversation without needing to be the one to say the last word. And it acts completely different when someone hurts you. Instead of you holding that resentment, you just let it go. Because now you can decide what's going to take up your mind or not. So in this video, I actually want to walk you through a few signs that could actually prove that you are actually healing, even if no one around you has noticed it. So let's get into the video. The first sign, and I would say the most powerful one, is when you truly stop needing the person that hurt you to suffer. Most of us, when we go through something traumatic or something that caused us a lot of pain, the first initial thought that we all have is for the person that made us hurt. We want them to suffer 2, 3, 4 times more. Because when we are hurt, simply our ego just wants justice. It wants the other person to feel exactly what we have felt, if not more. And sometimes our motivation to grow, it's kind of linked to a point that we want to make to these type of people. The glow up now becomes about revenge. The discipline that we say that we have is all to make the other person regret. And I'm not here to shame on that, because in reality, for many people, that type of energy can really make them move the mountains. When I was very little, I heard someone speaking about revenge, and it really touched me because it really made me understand that the concept of revenge is really bad. Someone told me that when you have this type of feeling, it's like you are drinking poison expecting the other person to die, and that's never going to happen, because when you drink poison, most likely you are going to die. And the same happens with revenge. Sometimes even the person is not even in your life, but this type of feelings makes you attached to them, like they're always in your head. It's like everything that you are doing, you are not doing for you are actually doing for them, which in a way means that they have power over you. But when you start healing, when you stop having these feelings of, oh, karma is going to catch them, as many people say, when you genuinely understand what happened and you actually decide to let it go, then you will start to experience a different type of healing. When you start to realize that not every wound that you have that was caused by people needs you to go to war, that sometimes the most genuine thing you can actually do is to just move forward, to stop allowing whatever has happened to you to actually dictate where you're going. And that in itself is healing. Some people may come to you with the whole talk of they don't really understand how you did it, and others might think that it's something impossible for you to do depending on what has happened to you. But to let go and to move forward is literally the best thing you can do. So when you actually do this, that's healing to you, and you will know and you will be aware of it. Now the second one, and I really want to speak about this because it really changed my life, is when you actually stop over explaining yourself. A sign that you are healing is when you actually don't feel the need to explain why you did a certain thing, why you behaved a certain way to people. And if you are someone that feels things deeply, you care deeply, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Because when you feel hurt, when someone misunderstands you, when someone has the wrong idea about you, it's almost impossible to live. And the first thing that you truly chase is for them to understand you, to know where you're coming from, to literally explain everything from top to bottom. You want them to understand your intentions, validate your feelings, especially acknowledge your heart. So you start to over explain, you start to write long messages, you revisit the conversations 100 times, you try again and again to make them understand. You literally try everything that you can and that you cannot until they understand you. But when you start healing, you actually understand that not everyone is willing to actually understand where you're coming from. You can explain to them 100, 300 times. if they don't want to understand you, they're not going to understand you, no matter how many times you try to explain yourself. And the more that you explain and that you over explain, you just understand that they really misunderstand you every time you try to do that. With healing, you understand that not everyone really wants to understand. Some people are willingly misunderstanding you, and others misunderstand you because it's beneficial to them to misunderstand you. Because the moment that they understand you in certain situations, it brings accountability to them. It requires them to be accountable for what they said, for what they did, and some people, they don't want to do that. And you cannot explain your way to someone that has clearly closed their eyes to not be able to see what is in front of them. So when you start healing, you actually choose your peace and you stop over explaining yourself. You become comfortable to be misunderstood because you understand that not everyone will. You start becoming comfortable by allowing people to have their own perception of you, even if it's the incorrect one. You start being okay by not having the last word. You start being okay by not changing the narrative. You start being comfortable by not justifying your decisions, because you really start to understand that the people that care about you, they will try their best to understand you, and the people that don't, no explanation will be enough. Another sign that you are healing is when you are actually comfortable with silence. And I don't just mean physical silence, I also mean emotional silence. When people are not yet healed, silence will be one of the things that are very terrifying to them and makes them very uncomfortable in any type of situation. They need to always be in noisy environments, they always need to be busy, they always need to be very distracted, and they always need to be testing or speaking with someone. Because the moment that everything goes quiet and they actually need to be alone with themselves, that is a problem. And that's literally where all the unprocessed pain lives. I would even go far by saying that this is the main reason why some people jump from one relationship to another relationship, because there is this sense that if they stay by themselves, they won't be able to make it. So they always want to be close to someone, from situation to situation, from validation to validation. Because when you are still and when you are quiet, it really forces you to think. And not just to think, but whatever you are carrying, it also allows you to feel. Because most of the times when we are busy, when we are doing stuff, when we don't want to face our reality, we hide everything under the carpet and we think that some feelings are not there. But when we are silent, that's when we discover a lot about ourselves, and you start feeling things that you were avoiding before. But the beautiful thing about healing is that it makes you comfortable in silence. Your phone being silent, you're not receiving any notifications, doesn't make you panic. I do a thing now that's very personal to me, which is I keep my phone on silence throughout the whole day, and I only check it when I really need to check it. I only respond to people when I really need to respond to people, and I'll only check things that are going to benefit me, not the opposite. And you will feel that you have much more control of your time. You stop needing these reassurance that people are still there, that people are still invested, and you actually start to find that when you are silent and when you have your silent moments, that's when you have your clarity moments. You become less reactive, more grounded, you become more yourself. When you learn to be in silence is very good, because people start having control over you, because your inner peace no longer depends on other people or external attention. And this 100% is a massive sign of healing. Another sign that you are healing is that you stop actually chasing for closure. Sometimes the closure that you are waiting for will never come through, because sometimes people hurt you and they never apologize. Some relationships end without a real explanation. Some relationships fade and you never understand why. And some people will carry their events of the story to their grave without really acknowledging what they have done to you. Sometimes when you face these type of situations and you are now surrounded with pain, the only thing you truly want is answer to your questions. And we normally start thinking, if I had one conversation, or if I could explain myself, or if I could hear their explanations, then I would be okay. If I could just know the why for my answers, then I will be able to move on. But with healing, it really teaches you something very freeing, and I would also say painful at the same time. Closure doesn't always come from other people, and sometimes is a decision that you take. Is to actually accept that whatever happened has happened and there's nothing that you can do about it, and that now that that situation has happened, there's nothing that you can do to change it, because you can't go to the past to change the things that happened in the past. And when you stop wanting closure from the people that hurted you, you actually realize that you stop going after them, you stop expecting anything from them, and you stop opening the door to people that simply closed it on you. And the most important important thing with healing is that you stop asking the whys, you just accept what has happened. And the most powerful thing about healing is that you stop asking why did this happen to me, and you stop asking what can I learn out of this. And that frame literally changes everything, because instead of you focusing on the other person, you are actually focusing on you. In a story, in an event, in a situation, there is always the two sides of the story. And every time that there is a friendship or relationship within two people, it's not just one that it's wrong. The same way that they will do stuff wrong, you will also do stuff wrong. And it's very important for you to realize what you have done wrong so then you can change. If you're always thinking on the other person, then you're not looking at what you have done wrong. That's why when you heal, you start focusing more on yourself and you start asking yourself, what could I have done that could change the situations? What can I learn out of this? Another big sign about healing is that you actually start choosing yourself without having any guilt. You stop saying yes to things that actually drain you just because you want to be acceptable. You literally stop accepting disrespect just because having that conversation is going to be uncomfortable. You literally stop making yourself smaller just so other people can feel more comfortable around you. Because for those of you that were the understanding one, the helper, the one that always made spaces for everyone's need, when you revert that to yourself, sometimes it can make you feel very selfish, because you've been conditioned into think that if you put yourself first is actually quite shameful and is something that you should be ashamed of. What healing does is that it actually makes you understand that you can't abandon yourself and expect to be okay. Is that the same way that you give to other people? Yes, because you can still give to other people and you can still do stuff to other people. But with healing, you understand the balance. You understand that the same way you give, you also need to have your time. And this is to also recognize that you are also a person. You are a human being with limits, with needs. And when you start to extend that to yourself, the same grace that you give to others, you will start to feel that life feels less more of a burden and more like something you are actually enjoying. So just to recap, if you're not feeling like you want to revenge the people that hurted you, that's healing. If you stop over explaining yourself, especially to people that don't want to understand your version of the story, that is healing. If silence is now feeling like peace and not threatening, then that is healing. If you stop looking for closure, especially from people that will never give it to you, that is healing. If your life is more quieter, more calmer, then that is healing. And if you're finally choosing yourself without having any guilt, that is also healing. And me speaking about these things are not small things. Sometimes as you go throughout your day, they might feel a little bit invisible and not worth mentioning. And no one is coming here with a big certificate to give to you just for the inner work that you were doing. But I am here to give you that certificate and to tell you, well done. I know that the world sometimes celebrates everything that's big, and these small things, they don't look into it. The reaction you were meant to give but you didn't, the conversation you were meant to have but you didn't, the door you stopped knocking. But I'm just here to tell you once again that those things really matter. And I just want to address this again, that healing is not something that out of a sudden you don't feel any type of emotion, but it's all about becoming someone that pain and all these emotions can no longer control you. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day you're going to look and you're going to realize that whatever you were doing now brought you a long way. You'll be able to see how far you have gone. If you stayed until the end, then you are a star. And drop in the comments one sign you believe you are healing. If this is the type of content that you want and you like, feel free to subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one.